What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be checking out the UK heat wave. Temperatures soar to 34 degrees Celsius as millions face hosepipe bans. That just sounds extreme, to be honest. I'm not really sure how hot 34 degrees Celsius is.
I would guess like mid to upper 90s, but I'm not 100% sure.
34 degrees Celsius is 93.2 degrees Fahrenheit.
Which, honestly, for us, that's a pretty normal summer temperature.
It is. It really is. Yeah, unfortunately. Now, luckily, I think today we're a little bit cooler than that. I think we're probably in the mid-80s or something. But it's very, very muggy here.
Yeah, humid.
You know, and I think that's one of the things that makes a big difference in the UK, it feeling warmer than it actually is. So I imagine that 93 degrees feels hotter than it does in a lot of areas.
Especially in homes that maybe don't have central heating and air.
Yeah.
Then
well, not central heating, central air.
Central air.
Yeah.
Well, I'm saying...
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, it would be miserable.
Yes, I can't imagine not having air conditioning these days. Now, granted, we don't have air conditioning up here in the upstairs, so when it gets hot...
So we kind of have to plan our videos around that because...
It gets sweltering, and I'd be over here dripping sweat because, unfortunately, we got a window unit, and it works fine. It cools it off enough, but unfortunately, it's too loud to do while you're making a video.
Yeah, so we feel for you.
Yes, we definitely feel for you. And I remember a long time ago, before you came on the channel, I looked into why, I think it was 25 degrees Celsius feels hot in the UK. And
why is it?
Well, there's different reasons. Number one, the air conditioning. A lot of houses, the older ones specifically,
are very well insulated.
And they're very well insulated.
To retain heat.
Right, to retain heat. And so they have an issue where a lot of houses don't have air conditioning, but at the same time, they also retain the heat really well.
I would have to have an air conditioner.
Oh, man.
I would have to.
Yeah. But I also think it is probably quite humid a lot of the time. You get a lot of rain there because it's an island nation, and so there's probably always this constant level of humidity. Although that's something I'm not really 100% sure of. Let us know in the comments, guys. But one thing I'd like to say before we get started with this video is Lindsay actually taught me something recently about why it's actually so humid here that I didn't know.
Here in the Midwest.
So here in the Midwest, we are known to have crazy amounts of corn.
Yeah.
It is like the corn basket of the U.S. and then really probably like the corn basket of the world. Crop-wise.
Yeah.
It's the corn. And we produce a lot of corn because it gets fed to the conventional cattle and whatnot. And supposedly, the cornfields produce something called corn sweat.
Yeah, in hot summer days, apparently, I only just learned this too, but stalks of corn can sweat up to like 4 cups of water a day. And it just adds to the humidity in the air.
Yes.
So that's another reason it feels so humid around here.
Yes, guys. I mean, like, there's some days you walk outside. Not only is it like, it could be 100 degrees, but it's like...
It is thick.
It's thick. Like, I could take a knife and cut the air, it feels like. It's so thick sometimes, I catch myself like... It's like you feel like you can't even catch a breath. It gets so hot. But nonetheless, guys, we actually do have air conditioning pretty much everywhere and everybody for the most part. You know, every once in a while someone doesn't, and that's brutal. We've experienced that, and it is brutal. And like we say, we do experience that up here, but luckily we can go downstairs, and you know, when we're sleeping and whatnot, no big deal. So I feel for you guys that don't have air conditioning when it gets to 93 degrees, you know what I mean? And especially if it's humid.
I mean, we're talking a lot. We haven't even seen the video, so I guess maybe we should watch
But something I'm also interested in, the hosepipe bans.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen that or come across that.
Well, I think it's a water...
Yeah, I know that makes sense. Right, yeah. I know that makes sense, but it's just something I've never
heard of it.
I've never personally experienced it, so...
Not personally.
Yeah, so... Anyways, guys, enough rambling. Let's go ahead and jump in here and check out the UK heat wave.
The Seven Hills of Sheffield are scorching under a baking sun. In this city and around the country, people are being warned to appreciate the risks that come with the heat. as the temperatures climb.
Oh, man.
Here in
Why
Sheffield,
is he
it's
laying in
30
it?
degrees and a yellow heat health alert is in place, meaning
Yellow
there
heat
could be
health
a
alert.
rise in deaths among the vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
But across large parts of the country, there's an amber alert, meaning the whole population could start to feel the effects of these hot conditions
Oh, man.
as we enter the third heat wave of the year.
We've been having a
Heatwave
lot
has just
too.
had its warmest
Yeah.
spring since records began
Wow.
in 1884, and
my
last month was the
goodness.
warmest June on record for England. In
Ever?
May, northwest England and Yorkshire officially entered drought, and today Yorkshire Water became the first company to bring in a hosepipe ban, covering much of Yorkshire and parts of North Lincolnshire and Derbyshire.
Okay. I've got to say, guys, it's really interesting to hear drought, because when I think of the UK and Ireland, the whole area, the Isles there, it just seems like a place that you really don't get droughts. It seems like you guys are always so green, you know, and it's just something that I don't think about.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
South East Waters also announced that from the 18th of July, most households in Kent and Sussex will be banned from using hose pipes to clean cars,
down
water
south as well.
gardens and fill paddling pools.
Can't water gardens.
And Thames Waters warned its 16 million customers across London and the Thames Valley they too could face a ban.
Wow.
Water UK says the companies
Oh
are
my
trying to avoid
goodness.
further restrictions by moving water to the driest areas and building
Wow.
new reservoirs. But will they be able to fill them? Yorkshire's reservoirs are just half full.
Oh, wow.
This area, cumulative
Look at
rainfall
that.
so far this year, is the lowest since 1959.
We're doing
That
X
is
Wow.
is equal to 6 over 49. And
The 1970s classrooms at Wales High School in Rotherham
Oh.
aren't built for the heat.
Oh.
Children have been allowed to swap their blazers for PE kit to try to help them keep cool and concentrate.
Okay, so they're able to at least get rid of the uniforms temporarily and be able to wear some
down.
cooler stuff.
That's sensible. But I'm surprised y'all are still in school. Is it right now?
Oh, that's...
Is this recent?
Yeah, this is
Okay.
like just a couple days ago. So, like, yeah. Wait, July...
When
wow.
does your school year end? Because here,
May.
normally, depending on where you live, it's around May to early June, like late May, early June. And
Yeah.
then we go back in like August to early September.
Yeah, somewhere around that, depending on the
So-
area.
I wonder how it is over there.
But did you notice that? The school had fans.
Yeah.
Man.
So the schools aren't air conditioned either.
Yeah, that's surprising. I would have thought the schools would be, because I'm sure like your malls and, you know, things like
Right,
that are air
modern architecture
Right.
is...
But they did say, I think they said something about an older school, older 70s school or something like that. So maybe the more modern built schools have air conditioning, but the older schools still don't.
Man, those poor kids.
Yeah, let us know in the comments about that, guys. I'd be curious to know. Granted, you know, I understand that the hot season is probably much shorter than we have here. We're used to like literally for 5 months of the year or something like that, it gets really, really hot. We get lucky little breaks in there, but it stays hot the majority of the time. And I can't imagine not having air conditioning in schools during those peak heat times.
No, it'd be hard to concentrate.
Yeah, it really would.
Quite hard to concentrate in class, but since we know how to wear these PE kits, so like, you can think more straight.
'Cause it can sometimes make you feel a bit sick if you don't have the
Oh,
right,
man.
like if you don't have any water or if your water's gone warm, it can be a bit tricky. Starting to crush your mind a lot more that it could be like climate change is becoming a lot more of a risk factor than we like knew and understood before.
And you'll be able to see we've got different parts of the building that are designed in different ways, and we've got some porta cabins whereby it's more difficult to keep cool in those.
Do you think education bosses, councils are going to have to rethink how they design schools, but also the school system, if this is the kind of weather we're going to have in future?
Oh, absolutely. It's so difficult to maintain concentration. You know, I haven't
would
mentioned
imagine.
staff, they find it difficult as well. We've relaxed their dress and what they wear too, but they'll definitely have to look at that. And we've got a new build coming up and will be complete for summer 27, and part of that design is to create it so that the building can control its own temperatures.
Cornwall is one of the areas where the heat alert was upgraded today from yellow to amber. On Newquay Beach,
beautiful.
they've got the sea to cool off, but heat is a growing danger. New research predicts that when you combine climate change with an ageing population, we're going to see heat-related deaths rise dramatically in England and Wales.
The worst case scenario up into the 2070s, say, if we have a high emissions scenario and large population growth and ageing of the population, we could see potentially sort of 50 times worse numbers of heat deaths than at the present day.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
Quite shocking.
And in the short...
Sounds like y'all need air conditioning.
Yeah.
I mean, I get, like, yes, it costs more money. It's a bigger toll on resources. But if the alternative is people dying and being overheated, like, why continue to be miserable?
And I understand there is something to, you know, if as a whole, most people that grew up in older homes haven't had air conditioning, so they just get used to it. You get used to that way of life, right? And when you get air conditioning, you get used to that way of life. But, you know, it's not necessarily that it would have to be cut on all the time, because like, let's imagine that you have heat waves a few times a year that get really bad. I mean, you're talking turn on the air conditioning for, you know, in the schools and stuff for literally like, you know, a total of a month and a half out of the year.
Even if it's just a window unit for the classroom.
Right.
Like, you don't have to cool the hallways.
I do remember, though, when I looked into this a long time ago a little bit, I remember in the comments people talking about it was very expensive to get air conditioning there. And I think it's because it's not as, you know, like, it's not everywhere like it is here. So here, air conditioning units, I think, may be much cheaper.
Term and immediate danger. There are wildfire warnings around the UK. 70 firefighters were needed to bring a grass fire under control in East London. The fire brigade saying with little sign of rain, the risk of further fires is severe.
Jane Deeth, well, an extreme risk of wildfires warning is in place for much of Scotland, where temperatures are expected to reach the high 20s this weekend. Let's get more from our Scotland correspondent, Catherine Sampson, who...
Hold on, guys. I want to see what the high 20s are. Let's say, what do we want to say, 28?
Sure.
82 degrees.
Which probably for northern Scotland, that's probably...
Was it northern Scotland?
I thought that's what she said, but...
I actually do believe that seems, when I think of Scotland, I think of it as a cool climate. It seems in my head that it would be a very enjoyable climate.
I would think so.
We tend to like the cooler weather.
I do, yeah.
And so, like, you think about a place like Scotland. It's used to being cool, you know, for most of the year. So you get something that goes to 82 degrees. When you're used to the temperatures maybe being in the 60s or something like that, 70s. 82 can feel pretty hot.
Yeah.
You know, but you just get used to the climate you're in, I think, you know. And so here we got this so hot, we just used to it. And because it's so often hot, we all have air conditioning units.
And then people who are in like Arizona, desert climates, they're even worse off than we are when it comes to temperature.
I don't agree with that. You know why? Because they're dry. It's dry weather.
But it's still hot as heck.
It's hot, but think about it. Would you rather have a dry heat
in the hundreds?
Well, yeah, but would you rather have a dry 110 or a wet 97? I would rather have a dry 110.
They're both bad, but
yeah, they are both bad, but yeah.
Joins us from the Trossachs. What's it like there, Catherine?
Yeah, well, temperatures already in the mid-20s, and as you say, expected to rise in what many consider to be the hottest weekend of the year. And of course, that is going to bring people in their droves to enjoy beauty spots like this one, Scotland's forests. But with that comes risk. These extreme wildfire warnings are in place now today for central and eastern parts of Scotland, but tomorrow they'll be in place for the whole of Scotland, and they're going to last right through until Monday. What this fire service are saying is really please take extreme caution if you are bringing anything into these areas that involves a naked flame. So we're talking barbecues and we're talking campfires, especially if there's a bit of wind, as there is in Scotland. These wildfires can spread extremely rapidly. They can devastate wildlife, they can devastate farmland. Quite often communities in rural areas have to get involved in trying to bring them under control. Now up north already in Murray, parts of the Highlands, some crews have been trying to tackle blazes for the last 3 days running.
Goodness.
You know, there's an issue here with resourcing up in the Cairngorm National Park. They're saying they're going to have to send rangers out over the weekend to keep patrols going, and they're also waiting to hear back from the Scottish Government because Cairngorm National Park have proposals to bring in a fire bylaw and actually completely ban barbecues and fires from their parks.
That was both interesting and just so wild how different everybody, depending on where they're at, looks at temperatures.
Right.
Like she said, it's already up to the mid-20s. And I looked that up. 25 degrees is 77 degrees.
Wow. That's weird to me. Why would 77 degrees cause wildfires?
Well, obviously,
is it the dry, the dry.
They said when they were down in, I think it was northern England or the
drought.
It was the drought going on there. So perhaps there's a drought all over the UK.
But I'm just shocked that 77 degrees would be enough to cause that.
I know, that's so fascinating to me because 77 degrees here, we would be like, this is amazing temperature.
The perfect temperature.
It's like, wow, this feels so amazing.
Maybe a little warm, but
yeah, I prefer. If you ask me my favorite temperature, it would probably be like 65 degrees Fahrenheit.
65 to 70.
Yeah. So, but 77 degrees, especially in the summer, is like, man, that would feel like a dream here because we so often are like we have 90s for a couple months probably without a break. And then you have, you really have 90 plus degree Fahrenheit weather starting in probably May. You start getting it.
Late May.
And then you generally have it. You can have it all the way into October. And so, it's, that.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just really interesting how where you're at determines what feels hot. But I do feel for you guys because two things that we were talking about. Number one, the lack of air conditioning. So that if you're outside and you're overheating, you can't just escape indoors to cool down.
I would still feel cooler than outside, probably.
I disagree. I've heard that people actually go escape the heat by going outside.
Really?
Because I think there's
shade outside.
Yeah, I think there's something, and the breeze and whatnot. I think there's something to be.
Water.
I guess ceiling fans and stuff would help though, but I think there's something about the stone housing and brick housing that retains heat. I'm also not sure. I know you guys. There's thatched roofs. I don't know how popular metal roofs are over there.
Slate, I think.
Slate, yeah. I feel like
slate would hold a lot of heat.
Yeah, so if you got a slate roof, I'm guessing that probably holds heat.
I might have to rethink my dream of having an English cottage here. Because I just don't know with the climate if it's a smart choice.
Well, it depends. You're talking about that. I love a stone house.
I do too.
And we would probably put.
There's quite a few stone houses here.
And let's be honest, we'd probably put a split unit air conditioning into it.
For sure.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Especially here. I understand. And again, I think this has something to do with the fact, why would you put an air conditioning unit in if you're only technically going to need it for a week at a time or so for a total of a month or a month and a half out of the year? Think about it. Would we really care so much about air conditioning if we had to deal with really hot weather for about a month or so out of the year?
Maybe not. But when I sleep, if I'm too hot, it's miserable.
That's the big problem, I think, when it comes to not having air conditioning, because we've experienced that. We've been places and lived places temporarily that didn't have air conditioning in the summertime when it's 90 plus degrees at night and it's humid. And there's no escaping that. And it is brutal. You're sweating while you're sleeping is the worst. I would rather have air conditioning at night than I would during the day. Because it's just sleeping at a cool temperature is the best way to sleep.
I agree.
Yeah. But guys,
we feel for you.
Yes,
hopefully you're staying cool.
Yes, hopefully you're staying cool. Hopefully the Hosepipe bands win soon and y'all can get back to some cool weather.
Hopefully you get some rain.
Yeah, that'd be good. Cool it down and stop some of the drought. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for stopping by. Please click that like button. Feel free to drop your comments or suggestions about this video or others. And don't forget to subscribe to continue to follow us on our journey. Until next time, guys, peace.